Welcome to Mr.Haunt. I tell stories in a way that you don't even need to look at the screen, because your mind will build every image on its own. So put on your headphones, start driving, keep working, or just sit back, and let me take you there. Imagine this. You're out in the wilderness, miles from anyone, and the only sound is the wind whispering through the trees. But then, a child's scream pierces the night. Not just any scream, one that sounds too human, too desperate, and it's getting closer. This story happened in my hometown, up in the northern wilds, about 300 years ago. Back then, life was harsh. People lived off the land, the rivers, the herds. Survival wasn't guaranteed, and secrets, well, secrets could turn into something far worse than regret. They could come back for you. Let me take you back there. Picture a small village nestled along a wide, lazy river. The water's dark and cold, reflecting the endless sky above. It's late summer, August, when the days are still long, but the nights are starting to creep in. The air smells like pine and wet earth, with that faint chill that hints at the winter to come. There were these two friends. Let's call them Ante and Biera. They were the best fishermen around, strong guys in their prime, with calloused hands from years of paddling and hauling nets. They'd head out on the river for days at a time, coming back with boats full of salmon, trout, whatever the water gave them. Sometimes they'd bring along kids from the village, teaching them the ropes, how to read the currents, how to set a line just right. It was a simple life, but a good one. Full of stories around the fire, laughter echoing off the water. One afternoon, they're getting their boat ready for a short trip upstream. Nothing big, just to this hidden meadow they knew, a quiet spot where the fish bit like crazy. They'd camp overnight, fish at dawn, head back. As they're loading up, packing dried meat, hooks, a bundle of firewood, they spot her, Anne, their old childhood friend. Anne's down by the riverbank, knee-deep in the shallows, working on some reindeer pelts. You see, her family were herders, nomads really, following the reindeer across the tundra. They'd soak those old hides in the water to loosen the fur, scrape it off, turn the skin into leather for boots, bags, whatever they needed. It's tedious work, the kind that leaves your hands raw and your back aching. Anne. She was a bit younger than Ante and Biera, but they'd grown up together. As kids, they'd play for hours when her family passed through town each August. She was full of life back then, always running, laughing, with this spark in her eyes that made everything feel like an adventure. But something had changed a couple of years back. She got quiet, withdrawn, avoided eye contact, didn't smile much. Folks whispered, but no one knew why. Ante and Biera figured maybe life had just worn her down, like it did to so many. They wave her over, chat for a bit. The sun's warm on their faces, the river gurgling softly. They laugh about old times. Remember that time they tried to build a raft and it sank? Good memories. Then, on a whim, they ask her to come along. Just for old time's sake, Ante says, grinning. Fish by the fire, stories under the stars. It'll be fun. Anne hesitates. Her eyes flick to the water, then back to them. You can almost see the conflict in her face, the pull of friendship against something else, something heavy. But she nods. All right, she says softly. I'll come. The day arrives. They push off from the shore, the boat slicing through the water with that rhythmic splash of paddles. The river's calm, lined with thick forests on both sides, dark pines stretching up like silent guardians. Birds call overhead. The sun filters through the leaves in golden shafts. They talk as they go, about the village gossip, the best fishing spots. Anne's quiet at first, but slowly she opens up. Shares a laugh here, a memory there. For a moment it feels like old times. That spark flickers back, just a little. They reach the meadow as the light starts to fade. It's this perfect hidden clearing, grass soft underfoot, the river bending gently around it. They pull the boat up, build a fire. The flames crackle to life, sending sparks dancing into the twilight. They cast lines, reel in fish, fat, silvery ones that they gut and roast over the coals. The smell of wood smoke and sizzling flesh fills the air. They eat, savouring the warmth, the salty bite. Stories flow easy now, tall tales of giant fish, close calls with bears. The sky darkens, stars pinpricking the velvet black above. No midnight sun anymore. August brings the night. It's peaceful, almost too peaceful. They spread out their pelts, thick reindeer hides for bedding, and settle in. The fire dies to embers, glowing red. The air cools, a light breeze rustling the leaves. They drift off, the rivers murmur like a lullaby. Then, a scream. It rips through the night, sharp and raw. Not an animal. Too piercing, too full of pain. They bolt upright, hearts pounding. Ante rubs his eyes, scans the tree line. "What the hell was that?" Biera whispers, his voice tight. Silence falls heavy, like a blanket smothering the world. No crickets, no wind, just their breathing, ragged in the dark. Then it comes again, closer this time, a child's wail, desperate, echoing off the water. Anne's face. It's drained of colour, pale as moonlight. Her eyes wide, fixed on the forest. Ante tries to laugh it off, but it sounds forced. Probably a fox. They sound like that sometimes, right? Screaming in the night? Biera shakes his head. That wasn't a fox. That was human. Anne doesn't say a word. She's trembling now, pulling her knees to her chest. Another scream, right at the edge of the meadow. The hairs on their necks stand up. The air feels thicker, charged, like before a storm. Ante mutters something about old legends, Iaparash, the restless ones, but he cuts himself off, like saying the name might summon it. Anne snaps. She grabs her pelt, bolts for the boat. "I'm not staying," she hisses, voice breaking. "Come on." They don't argue. They snatch their things, shove the boat into the water. Paddles hit the surface with frantic splashes. The current grabs them, pulling them downstream. Behind, the scream follows, crashing through the underbrush along the bank. It's fast, unnaturally fast. They're safe on the water, or so the old stories say. Iaparash won't cross it, won't touch it. But the cries keep coming, relentless, echoing in the dark. Biera's had enough. His arms ache from paddling, sweat stinging his eyes. "Show yourself," he shouts into the night. And it does. A shape emerges from the bushes, small, pale. A little girl, no more than 4. Her hair tangled, eyes hollow in the starlight. She stands there on the bank, staring, not moving, just watching. The boat drifts slower now. Ante's frozen, paddle limp. Anne's huddled in the bow, whispering prayers under her breath. Biera finds his voice. "We're sorry," he calls out, trying to keep it steady. "We didn't mean to disturb you. We aren't the ones who left you. Go find them, the ones who abandoned you, please." The child doesn't blink, doesn't flinch. The river laps softly against the hull, the only sound. Then, snap. A sickening crack, like dry wood breaking. Anne's head twists, unnatural, violent. Her eyes bulge in shock, a gasp escaping her lips. She topples sideways, splashing into the dark water. Ante and Biera lunge, grabbing her arms, hauling her back in. But she's limp, gone, her neck, twisted nearly all the way around. bone jutting wrong under the skin, blood trickling from her mouth. They look up. The child is vanished. The screams, silent. They paddle home in a daze, the boat heavy with grief. Dawn breaks as they reach the village, grey light washing over everything. They tell Anne's family, stammering through the nightmare. Why her? Why Anne? Her mother. She sits them down, voice low. A couple years back by the coast. Anne fell for a Norwegian man. Got pregnant. He wanted nothing to do with her. Saw her people as less than human. And back then, an unwed mother. It shamed the whole family. They hid it. Anne gave birth in secret. Took the baby deep into the woods. Left it there. To die. The guilt ate her alive. Stole her spark. Turned her into a shadow. They buried Anne that week. The spot on the river where it happened? Locals call it Eerparashfjellma, the Eerparash's meadow. And that spirit, it never showed again, killing its own mother. Maybe that was enough to set it free. Or maybe not. You see, an Eerparash, it's what happens to the unwanted. Back in those days, if a baby was born sick, deformed or out of wedlock, and the parents couldn't bear to kill it themselves, they'd leave it in the wilderness, exposed to the elements. It dies alone, but it doesn't rest. It becomes this thing, crying in the night, hunting those who cross its path. Fast as the wind, even the swiftest reindeer sled can barely outrun it. It circles you 3 times, drives you mad, makes you end yourself. The only way to send it on? Baptize it. Give it a name. A proper send-off to the afterlife. But Anne, she never did that. She left her child nameless, forgotten. And in the end, it found her. Think about that next time you're out in the woods, alone in the dark. Hear a cry that sounds too human. Maybe it's just the wind, or maybe it's coming for the one who left it behind. What secrets are you carrying that might come screaming back? Second story. Do you believe in life after death? That spirits might walk among us, lingering in some parallel dimension we can't always see? Kinda like that creepy vibe in Insidious. This story comes straight from a car battery shop owner in Nonthaburi, Thailand. And unlike most ghost stories that hit you at the witching hour, 3 a.m. when the world's asleep, this one, it happened in broad daylight. 6 in the morning. Picture a small shop in Nonthaburi. It's not much to look at. Grease-stained floors, stacks of batteries, the faint hum of a ceiling fan. The owner, Far, and her husband are always up early, prepping to open by 6 a.m. The shop's not officially open that early, but the locals know they can swing by. Far's usually out front, organizing tools, while her husband tinkers in the back. It's a quiet morning routine, the kind that feels like the world's still waking up. The air's warm, humid, with that tropical heaviness Thailand's known for. This one morning, right around 6, a car pulls up. Far glances over and recognizes it instantly. Distinctive decals. A regular customer's ride. A guy steps out, walks straight to her husband. "Need a battery swapped for another car at my place," he says, voice clipped, like he's in a hurry. Nothing unusual. People are always rushing at that hour. Then the car's back door swings open. Out steps a little girl, maybe 10 years old, wearing these cute cartoon pajamas. Bright colours, some goofy animal print. She skips over to the front of the shop where Far's Siberian husky is lounging, tail thumping lazily. The girl giggles, petting the dog, running her hands through its thick fur. Far smiles, charmed by the kid's energy. "Hey, come inside and play with him," she calls out. The girl shakes her head, grinning. "I'm good right here," she says, and keeps playing. A few minutes later, the guy wraps up with Far's husband. "Meet me at my place in 10, he says. "Got to drop my daughter off at school." He heads back to the car, shuts his door. The girl stops playing, hops back in too. The car pulls away, tires crunching on the gravel. Far grabs the battery, cradling it in her lap as her husband fires up their motorbike. They weave through the early morning streets, the air still cool, the sun just starting to burn off the mist. It's a quick ride, 5 minutes tops, to an old gated community, the kind where the security's more for show than anything else. The gate's already open, the guard barely glances at them. They roll through past rows of quiet houses and pull up to the guy's place. The house looks alive. Lights glow through the windows, the faint chatter of a TV spills out. You can smell breakfast cooking, maybe eggs, something savoury. There's clatter from the kitchen, like someone's banging pots around. Just a normal morning, right? The guy comes out, waves them over to a white car parked out front. Far's husband gets to work on the battery, tools clinking. Far, making small talk, says to the guy, "Your daughter's adorable." The man freezes, his face twisting like she just said something crazy. "What do you mean?" he asks. Far blinks, confused. "The girl who was playing with my dog this morning came out of your car in those cartoon pajamas." He stares at her, eyes narrowing. "Describe her." So she does. Fair skin, long hair, about 10 years old. The guy's expression hardens. "That's impossible," he says. "My daughter's an athlete. Tan skin, still young, not even close to 10. He calls his wife out. Far repeats the story. The wife's face crumples, tears welling up. 10 years ago, she says, voice breaking, I had a miscarriage. That could have been her." Quick context. In Thai belief, if someone dies before their time, their spirit sticks around. It keeps aging, like it's still alive until it hits the age it was meant to reach. Only then can it move on. But the story doesn't end there. Far's husband, still wrenching on the battery, isn't buying it. He's practical. Ghosts aren't his thing. The guy calls his daughter down to settle it, and sure enough, the kid who comes out is nothing like the girl Far saw. She's younger, tan, all energy, like she's ready to hit the soccer field. Battery's done. The guy tells them to hang tight, heads inside to grab cash. Far and her husband wait by the bike, glancing at each other. What did she see? 5 minutes pass, then 10, then 15. Just grabbing money shouldn't take this long. They're about to knock when they hear it. Soft footsteps on the stairs inside. A small figure appears at the door. Same cartoon pajamas, same bright patterns. It's her. "Hey," the girl calls out, all cheerful. "You guys still working on that battery?" Far's heart stops. It's the same kid from the shop. She stammers. "No, we're done. Just waiting for your dad to pay." The girl nods. "I'll tell him," she says, and skips back inside, vanishing into the house. Far's husband grabs her arm. "We're leaving. Now." His voice is low, urgent. "We'll get the money later." Far starts to protest, but he cuts her off. "Now, Far." They hop on the bike, peel out. As they hit the street, he yells, "Don't look back!" But Far can't help it. She glances over her shoulder and freezes. The whole street. It's dead. Abandoned. Vines choke the houses, crawling up the walls like veins. Dead leaves pile up on the cracked pavement. Dust coats everything, thick and untouched. The lively neighborhood from an hour ago, gone, like it never existed. They get back to the shop, shaken. Far calls a friend, someone who knows the area. "That street," the friend says. "It's been empty for years. No one lives there, not anymore." But Far's husband isn't about to let a battery go for free. Ghost or no ghost. Around 11 a.m. they ride back. He needs to see it for himself. When they reach the community, the gates shut tight. A big sign reads, "Do not enter." That wasn't there this morning. They ignore it, slip through, and head to the house. It's a shell. Gates locked, rusted. The house looks like it hasn't been touched in decades. Windows dark, vines strangling the walls. No lights, no TV, no breakfast smells. Just silence and wilted leaves. Far's husband climbs the gate, searches the yard. He calls out to her, voice tight. She peeks over. There's the battery, half buried in overgrown grass, still in its box. The white car, nowhere in sight. He swears he installed that battery, but now, it's just lying there. He grabs it, and they bolt back to the shop. They ask around, piece it together. That house? A family used to live there. Years ago they died in a car crash. Mum, dad, daughter on their way to school. After that, neighbours started noticing things. Lights flickering in the empty house, voices at night, like the family was still going about their day. One by one, everyone in the neighbourhood sold their homes and left. So that customer, maybe it was them, still living their routine, getting the battery changed, dropping the kid off at school. Maybe they don't even know they're gone, just stuck, repeating the same morning over and over. Or maybe that battery's just so damn good even ghosts keep coming back for the service. Think about it. You meet someone at dawn, talk to them, follow them home, only to find out they've been dead for years. What do you do? And what happens when that spirit comes looking for you again? Third story. Have you ever walked into a house so old, so heavy with history, that it feels like the walls are whispering? Like every creak, every shadow is trying to tell you something? This story takes us to a mansion in Brazil, a place built when the world was slower, quieter, surrounded by endless coffee fields. A place that held beauty, grandeur, and secrets that never quite stayed buried. This mansion belonged to my grandma. She passed away 2 years ago, and I miss her every day. Her house has been sitting empty ever since, up for sale, gathering dust. It's not just any house. It's a relic, built around the turn of the 20th century. Late 1890s, early 1900s, no one's exactly sure. Back then, the town was just open fields, coffee farms stretching to the horizon. Now, it's a crowded, noisy city. But that house, it's like it's stuck in time. Picture it. A sprawling mansion, the kind you'd see in an old movie. Marble floors that gleam under chandelier light, 2 kitchens filled with the clatter of pots, 2 dining rooms, one with an 18-person table carved from dark wood. There's a library lined with dusty books, a bar with crystal decanters, a wine cellar that smells of earth and oak. Massive oil paintings hang on the walls, portraits of stern faces that seem to follow you. A marble staircase 5 feet wide curves up to the 2nd floor, its steps worn smooth by decades of feet. Out back, a huge covered patio with a brick barbecue, and beyond that, a separate 3-room structure in the sprawling yard. It was a palace once, but by the time I knew it, the paint was peeling, the floors scuffed, the air heavy with age and neglect. My grandma moved in after my grandpa died, trading their coffee farm for this beast of a house. Her 5 kids were already grown, but a couple of my uncles stayed with her often, keeping her company, helping with bills. Before her, an elderly woman lived there, kind, gentle, passed away peacefully in her sleep. At least, that's what they say. But some folks think she never really left. This house, It was the heart of our family. All us grandkids grew up hearing stories from our parents, aunts, uncles, strange things, things that made you glance over your shoulder. The kind of stories you laugh off in the daylight, but think about when the house goes quiet at night. Let me take you to one of those moments. It's a warm morning in Brazil, the kind where the air smells of fresh bread and coffee. I'm sitting at the breakfast table with my mum and grandma, the sunlight streaming through tall windows, dust motes dancing in the beams. They're talking, their voices low, puzzled, like they're trying to piece together a dream. Grandma mentioned something odd from the night before. See, every night without fail, Grandma would leave a silver tray on the upstairs landing. On it, a pitcher of water and some glasses, just in case anyone got thirsty. That landing, it's this wide, open space overlooking the grand marble staircase. The stairs curve down, disappearing around a bend, so you can't see the bottom from up there. It's beautiful. But at night, with the lights dim and the house creaking, it feels exposed. Grandma says she woke up around 2 a.m. throat dry and shuffled out to the landing. The pitcher was empty, bone dry. She figured my mum had been up, maybe taken it downstairs to refill. "I thought I heard you on the stairs," she says, frowning. "Footsteps, slow and heavy, coming up. But when I looked, no one was there." My mum's face goes pale. "Wait, what?" she says. "I thought you were the one getting water." I woke up, went to the tray, and it was empty too. Then I heard footsteps, coming up the stairs, getting closer. I waited, but they just stopped, right before the top. The air in the room feels heavier now. The clink of coffee cups seems too loud. Grandma stares at Mum, Mum stares back, and neither says another word. They just let it hang there, like they both know something's off but don't want to name it. I'm just a kid, sitting there with my toast, feeling the hairs on my neck stand up. That wasn't the only time the house played tricks. Another night my mum woke up to her name being called. Soft at first, then louder, insistent. "Clara, Clara," over and over, like a chant. She thought she was dreaming, but when she sat up, heart pounding, it didn't stop. The voice was coming from outside, from the front courtyard. She figured it was the maid, maybe an emergency. The maid slept in that separate structure out back, so it wasn't crazy to think she'd come calling. Mum crept to the window, the floor cold under her bare feet. The courtyard was bathed in moonlight, shadows stretching long across the cobblestones. She pushed the window open, the hinges creaking. "Hello?" she called. The voice stopped. Just cut off, like someone flipped a switch. No one was there, just the empty courtyard, the faint rustle of palm trees in the breeze. She said a prayer, left her light on, and barely slept. The next day, she begged me to sleep in her room. I was like, "Hell no," and crashed at my aunt's place instead. Looking back, I feel bad, but come on, I was terrified. Then there's the story from my aunt and uncle. They'd gone out for dinner one night, came back late. The mansion has this exterior staircase in the front courtyard, concrete steps leading straight to the second floor. It's steep, imposing, the kind of thing you don't want to climb in the dark. They're walking across the courtyard, laughing about something, when they look up. There's an old woman coming down those stairs, moving slow, deliberate. Her dress is long, old-fashioned, like something from another era. My uncle's heart drops. He thinks it's Grandma, out here alone at night, risking a fall. "Ma!" he shouts, sprinting toward the stairs. But as he gets closer, the woman, she fades, like mist dissolving in sunlight. 1 second she's there, the next, gone. He freezes, turns to my aunt. "Did you see that?" he yells. My aunt's nodding, eyes wide. Yeah, I saw her. They burst inside, still shaken, and tell Grandma. She just shrugs, calm as ever. Oh, that's probably the lady who lived here before me, she says, like it's no big deal. I've never seen her myself, though. Can you believe that? Grandma lived in that house alone for 40 years, and somehow she had fewer stories than the rest of us. The thing about that mansion, it wasn't just a house. It was a keeper of stories, of lives, of things that didn't quite let go. The air always felt heavy, like it was holding its breath. Shadows moved where they shouldn't. Footsteps echoed when no one was there. And that old lady, the one who passed peacefully? Maybe she was kind in life, but something about her lingered, tied to those marble floors, those towering walls. The house is empty now, falling apart. The paint's chipped, the staircase is crumbling, the courtyard overgrown. But I wonder, is it really empty? Or is she still there, walking those stairs, calling out in the night, waiting for someone to answer? Next time you're in an old house, listen closely. Hear a creak, a whisper. Maybe it's just the place settling. Or maybe it's someone who never left. What would you do if you heard your name called from the dark? Would you answer? Or would you run?